fallen into my lap. This is great. For those of you watching us on YouTube live streaming, welcome. And you'll see that I'm wearing my Stormtrooper shirt to celebrate, of course, May the 4th, the Star Wars Day. So happy May the 4th. For us here at Kaotic, though, we are going to do the big 25th of May this year, which is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. So we'll have something we're concocting right now, which I'm really excited about. And we will brew something up. So my week was crazy. For those of you that know that we have a little short film that we're still working on. It is now in the hands of the sound guys. So they get to re-record and mix and do all of those really cool things that now take the film that next step. And so it's going to be in 5.1. I wanted Dolby Atmos, but apparently that's a lot of money. So, you want the sounds overhead. But then I realized that we basically shot a silent film and that would basically be useless. So, but that's okay. All good. So yeah, we're talking with our sound guys, and I'm listening to files back and forth, and we're just trying to figure out when it's perfect and when we have got the product that we are so excited about. And it's a process. It really is. As those of you that have been listening to us before, you know that there's many steps to make this happen, and I'm excited. I think that we're in a really good place now, and we're very hopeful that we'll have it done by the end of next week. And by this time next Thursday, I will be elated and popping champagne and really celebrating the fact that we have this little film ready for the world and ready for the film festival circuit. So. Yeah, that's and it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey building it out. So we're really excited to share that with you guys as soon as we hear anything, and as soon as we start getting accepted into film festivals, we will let you know. So, but how was your week, Rachel? I am amiss to not say that, and I feel like I jumped the gun. How was your week? Did you were you up to any crazy stuff?
Yeah, just hanging out at the studio and looking up certain things. I did get to go home for like 2 days and saw like my friends putting on an open mic over at Larry's.
Oh, no, that's in Venice Beach, right?
Yeah, it's right off Windward in the boardwalk. And
Very cool.
it's just these local musicians, and we get people from Michigan coming out, and well, that's what happened this week, and it was really great music.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You know what? That's always a part of the film industry that we don't dabble enough is talking about those musicians. And I'm going to get the guy that did the soundtrack to our short on because we need to share that stuff that those guys do, because a lot of the time, it gets hidden away, or you hear it but you don't know who did it.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that I love music,
Right.
absolutely music, and it's so cool.
Yeah, the first soundtrack that I ever got turned on to was AC/DC.
Oh yeah.
You remember?
Oh yeah. Which movie, or just generally as a life kind of soundtrack? Because AC/DC have both of those for me.
Right. No, I mean, AC/DC has always been a part of my childhood, but
Yeah.
it was in particular that movie where the trucks are coming to life.
Oh, Maximum Overdrive. Yes.
And it was like, that's so cool. You picked one band to do the whole soundtrack. It was amazing.
Oh my God. And what a band. What a band to do it. The soundtrack is so superior to a very, uneven kind of movie. But I remember, that was a soundtrack that I listened to. Who Made Who, right? Is that one of the major?
Yeah.
This is all gray matter, folks. We're not using the Google machine tonight. We're digging into the depths of my brain. And, that's so great. That's isn't it funny how, you can remember the music to a movie sometimes much more than you can ever remember the film itself. That's so cool. I love that.
Definitely.
I absolutely love that. So, it's I took a fantastic workshop this weekend. Started on Friday and went Saturday and Sunday. And it was a hands on director's workshop hosted by, and if anybody's interested in working with these guys, please check them out online. Rain Dance LA. They have an LA chapter here, and they have them, I think there's 10 or 11 of them around the world in France, New York, everywhere. They're just amazing. And it was a master class. There was 7 of us, and we spent the entire weekend kind of in the analysis of films on Friday. And we go out and we drive out to this cool house in the Hollywood Hills, and oh, it was amazing. And just discussing movies and discussing the importance of these films, and films that have, great significance in society. And I'm not just talking about, the usual kind of, not art films, but sort of, those kind of films. I'm talking more about films that were, mainstream and really important. So one of the films that we were talking about, and I think I've only ever seen the movie once, is Silence of the Lambs. Have you ever seen Silence of the Lambs, Rachel?
Yeah, and I've actually seen, the sequels to that,
Oh, there's
or
2 or
the
3 sequels, right? There's Red
yeah.
Dragon. I think it's Red. Is it Red Dragon? Yeah, let's go with Red. I think it's Red Dragon. Um, and is there another one? I can't remember. I don't remember
I
how many are in that series.
I don't either. And then there was also like I think there was some like television stuff that was going on with that.
That's right, Hannibal, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's really funny because everybody thinks that he says in the first Silence of the Lambs, "Hello, Clarice,"
Yeah.
and he doesn't.
Exactly.
But they can swear that he did.
I think he says just Clarice or hello, but I don't. You're absolutely right. He never
Yeah.
stitches those together. It's like the famous line in Casablanca that everybody quotes that's wrong. He
Mm.
never says play it again, Sam. He says play it, Sam. You played it for her, now play it for me. So it's amazing how the power of a film can. The mythology on how people talk about that film can really start to take a life of its own, or even lines or text of its own, and that's
Yeah.
really cool. Did you know? And I'm just sort of doing some research on Silence of the Lambs. Um, did you know it's one of the Oscar-winning films that won the Big Five? Do you know what that means? The Big Five awards at the Academy.
Not exactly.
It wins Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Picture, Best Screenplay.
Oh wow.
And those are really the only 5 awards that you want to win. And I think there's only 3 or 4 movies in the history of the academies that have ever won all 5 of those major awards. And I you know what? I remember seeing it. And I saw it when it came out in 1991, and I was there in the theater, and I was underwhelmed. I really was. I didn't dislike the film, but I thought, it's okay. It's what have you. It's been a film for me that over the years, it has really started to grow on me. Um, and I can appreciate things as a director that you go, wow, I can really get that. Um, there's a whole sequence, the very, very first sequence when we see Hannibal Lecter, and we see the character of Clarice, who's played by Jodie Foster. We can see them looking at each other. And what the choice of shot that Jonathan Demme used in that film was that they were looking directly down the lens of the camera. So
Right.
the interview takes on this incredibly claustrophobic, kind of very, very personal sort of edge, which is exactly what that film in that moment has to show. And yeah, it was part of the hands-on workshop. Was we talked a lot about that movie, and wow.
We actually have a clip.
Ooh, do we? I love
Yeah.
clips. Oh, is this the Anthony Hopkins clip?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. Um,
And the colors in this clip are amazing.
oh yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Yeah, sit back and enjoy this. I think it's just a brief clip, but have a listen to this, and you'll have a new take on Anthony Hopkins and the world of Hannibal Lecter.
Just aftershave you wore in court. If you recall, well, our last collaboration ended rather messily.
Kids like to be scared, you know, bedtime stories, ghost stories, Edgar Allan Poe, or Grimm's fairy tales, and kids, the big bad wolf and Little Red Riding and all that stuff. Lecter's the boogeyman. He's the big bad wolf.
Have you never felt a sudden rush of panic?
When I read Silence of the Lambs at the beginning, I had a hunch that it would be one of those personalities that would catch on. But I had no idea that it would take off in this way.
Good morning, Will.
I was in the theatre dressing room and my agent sent the script over, Silence of the Lambs, and I thought it was a children's story. And he said, "You're playing the part of Lecter." So I thought, this is interesting.
What disadvantages?
You're insane.
Jonathan Demme had seen me in a film called The Elephant Man with John Hurt. And I thought I was playing Dr. Treves. He was very humane, concerned, caring and sharing. Rather dull part, I thought. But he liked that. And I said, well, why would you come? How do you link the two? He said, well, because he's a humanitarian. I said, well, but I don't know what Jonathan's reason was, but I'm glad he did.
Go on, then. Seduce me with your wares.
You don't have to be in character all the time. Well, I don't. I mean, I thought that would be unbearable. I mean, I'd end up in the funny farm. So I know that some actors like to do that. They stay in character and you're not allowed to talk to them. Well, okay, that's fine. I don't mind.
How many times might you read a script? I believe it's many, many times.
Well, I go with my part. It's only a quirky little thing. It's I do it 250 times. I read it aloud to it. 250. There's nothing significant in it. It's just I'm a little bit obsessive, I guess, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Maybe I'm a little creaky up here, and I just. But I learn poetry. I try and learn a poem a week, whether it's a sonnet of Shakespeare or T.S. Eliot or whatever, or Matthew Arnold or Robert Frost or Yeats, just to exercise my mind.
Without our imaginations, we'd be like all those other poor dullards.
I couldn't tell you one line from Red Dragon. I don't remember one single line of it. I mean, if I had to do a reshoot today, yeah, I could pick it up within about half an hour, learn the whole scene, because it's in there somewhere. But as soon as it's over, I discard it and it's gone. Generally, people, much to my surprise, I always think I'm invisible. People seem to recognize me, whether it's in New York or Montreal or wherever I am. Some days they want me to do that thing, all that stuff. I don't even want to do that. You know, people like to have photographs taken with me and all that.
Before I tell you anything more, you will make certain arrangements for me.
I don't want to sound self-important. I have no clues as to why this guy's caught imagination. I suppose it's people are fascinated by the dark side of life. There's plenty of it around. It's the boogeyman. Kids like the boogeyman, don't they? Or you call it the bogeyman in America, boogeyman? What's it called, boogeyman? Ah! Movie star. No, I'm not a movie star. I'm a movie actor. And if this projected me into a realm of movie mini-history for what it's worth, the great scheme of things, then it's much to my surprise and pleasant surprise.
I'll call you if I think of anything else. Would you perhaps like to leave me your home number?
Ooh, that's so good. What did you think of that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder they chose him
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be Hannibal Lecter.
Oh my gosh.
It just gives you like goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many wonderful things about his performance. One of the things that, you know, most people know is that when Hopkins read it, he thought that the character of Lecter was almost like a lizard. So that opening sequence with Clarice, as the camera comes around, he doesn't blink. His eyes are wide open, sort of staring at her. Oh, it's such a great choice. Like it's really, really creative.
Yeah.
I think often it's a film that people go, oh, it's a horror film and it's gory. Yeah, and it is, and it does have those elements. Absolutely. There's a certain scene about a certain, and I won't wreck it for anybody, but a certain piercing that, woo, boy, that really is a powerful sort of scene. But
I remember that.
yeah, oh my gosh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw that. What year did that movie come
I
out?
think it was 91. I think 1991.
Yeah, that sounds about right because I was born in '82, and I remember seeing it. And
Oh my gosh, you were
yeah,
that brave at 9. Holy smoke, not
right.
me.
No. Like Tennessee's about 10 years behind before the internet. So my mom rented the movie from
Oh.
the movie.
From the Blockbuster video, as you would back then.
Right, yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's just like not even Blockbuster. It was just this corny little store.
Yeah.
And she would tell us, you guys aren't old enough to see this. Of course, that sparked our imagination. So we would pretend to go to sleep. And as they're watching it on the couch, we would sneak out of bed and peek around the corner.
Oh, that's awesome.
And whenever I saw that scene, I think I was about 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, wow, no
Yeah.
wonder.
Oh my gosh. And I think it's a rarity that it's a horror film in genre, but it won all of those Academy Awards. Typically, horror films are kind of discredited or dismissed as silly or childish or what have you. But you know what? If you haven't seen Silence of the Lambs and you want to go and see it, I think it's streaming on all of the major streaming outlets these days. But wow, what a great ride and a great film that still holds up. 26 years on, and also I want to just kind of dovetail this into that we lost the director of Silence of the Lambs last week, Jonathan Demme, who died at the age of 73. Great director. He had I think his last film that he directed was in 2015 with Meryl Streep, called Ricky and the Band. Was it Ricky and the Band? I think.
That
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, kind of an interesting story of an aging rock star in Streep, and yeah, I mean different than that film that he'd done. But still a great loss and a great loss to the community and to society as well, with someone who had such a vision and such a passion for the work that he did. And was able to have a horror film so widely accepted as the best film in 1991. So if you haven't seen it and you're looking for a good scare, then check out Silence of the Lambs, and you'll love it. You absolutely will love it. So yeah. Again, just getting back to the course, lots of analysis on films, and we went through all of the techniques that directors work. And then on Saturday, we got to direct a scene, and so it was lots of fun. I've directed lots of stuff. I've directed lots of actors, but this was cool. This is really, really cool. And our instructor was this guy. His name is Michael Greenspan, and he's a Canadian. He's a filmmaker. And he looks like Spielberg. And so when I walked into the house on Friday in the Hollywood Hills, he came to the door, and there was part of me that went, "Oh my God, that's Spielberg!" And it was Michael, and what an amazingly rich font of information and knowledge about the film industry. And so I had my actors, and we went to this location, and I did the blocking of the scene and shot the scene, and then realized very, very quickly that the style of shooting that I was doing wasn't going to work. And he was giving me notes and critique, and we went back, and then we got it the way we wanted to shoot it. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think that that's why I love taking those courses, because they keep your eye sharp. They keep you focused. They keep you in the game. And you never want to lose that. You always want to keep active whether you're shooting on a little iPhone, somebody's birthday party, or you're shooting on a red cam, or even shooting film. The precision of the work is everything to me, and I'm just a student, absolutely a student. And I was a student for 3 days, and it was the best. It was like the best weekend I've had for so long. So yeah, that's Rain Dance LA, and they have a variety of different courses. So if you're, in the LA area, or you're globally in the major 9 or 10 places that they have, Paris and London, check them out, because they're an amazing resource of information, and they are willing to help filmmakers get films made. And that's what it's all about. That at the end of it is what it's all about. We're here to help each other, and I love that. I can't say enough. I really can't. And it's been inspiring. It's been inspiring for me in a week of, looking at my work and seeing what else is next, and working on this other short film, and now I'm working on a feature film. I really should just shoot a feature about Kaotic radio. I really should.
That would be, oh my goodness. There would be a lot of behind the scenes on that one.
Oh my gosh, would there ever? And lots of good stuff. The incidents are different, but the people's names have not been changed. You know who you are. No, I'm absolutely just kidding. But yeah, and I think that's what the course was like, right? It was to do work that's personal to you, people that you know.
Right.
And I'm 50% kidding. There's part of me that's like, I would love to shoot here. I'd shoot something really fun. So.
Ooh, could we make it a horror?
Ooh. I think so. I think
we
that
could do
would.
it for like Halloween.
Oh my gosh!
And
yeah.
just set up the whole studio like Halloween stuff.
Just some creepy kind of murderer thing. It's so awesome. I would love that. I would love that. Yeah, and for those of you on the live stream watching us on YouTube tonight, I like to use my hands a lot, because that's my job.
Exactly.
So this is me framing a shot, and it's not cliche. It's what directors do, and we always point and do that stuff. So that's what I do. I'm very animated with my hands, and I had a good week. I really did. I had a fantastic week. And I'm excited about, last week we talked a little bit about the summer sort of blockbusters coming down the pipe. And you know what? I'm really excited. Tonight, I think, worldwide is one of the very first performances of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So that movie is out. And it's going to break every possible record, I'm sure. I mean, it's one of the most anticipated sequels of the summer. So it'll be fun to see that, and I'm hoping to see it really, really soon, so that I can report back to you guys and give you a bit of a trailer, teaser kind of review, but not wreck it, because I hate it when people throw down spoilers and say, "Oh, by the way, do you know what happens at the end?" And it's like, no, don't do that. Allow me the experience of watching the movie and experiencing it for myself, and I want to impart that to you guys in a way that is, professional and not too well. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin the ending. That's a good life rule, I think. Don't ruin the ending. So yeah, wow, what a weekend, and I want a week. And you can feel that summer is coming now, because the movies are all lined up, coming one after another. One movie that I'm really interested in seeing, and I'm not a superhero movie guy, and I kind of, well, maybe I am. Maybe there's part of me that is, and that is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman comes out in June, and it's interesting because if you've been following that movie, it was supposed to come out in March. And then they pushed it back. And it was supposed to come out in May, and they pushed it back to June. So maybe that shows that Warner Brothers has a lot of confidence in this property. And I think they really should. With Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and there's a female director, I think it's a great thing, and it's what DC needs right now to kind of give it a shot in the arm to get it back on track. Hopefully, and hopefully that will be the piece that does it. But who knows? Who knows? We all thought this, didn't we, on Man of Steel? And then we all thought this of Batman versus Superman. And we all thought it again on Suicide Squad. And it's been one disappointment after another. In my humble opinion. So, yeah. Okay. YouTube. Are you a YouTuber person, Rachel? You follow YouTube? You follow what goes on the world of YouTube?
I mean, whenever it comes to music, that's where I kind of find a lot of my stuff.
Right.
If it's on SoundCloud and I want to see video to it, then I can look it up. And sometimes there's live performances, stuff like that. But as far as movies go, not a lot.
Yeah. Like, have you ever? Because I think there's an option now where you can rent a movie off YouTube.
Exactly. So it's
Yeah.
kind of working sort of like Netflix now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Because all the young folks are doing the YouTube. So true. They're totally into it. And I need to give a shout out to my son because tomorrow basically for him is Christmas morning. They have the color run at school, the color rush run where you run and people throw color bombs at you and change you into red and green and yellow. So he's going to do that in the morning. He's going to book it home, and we have tickets to see this YouTube sensation called Dan TDM. Now, I knew nothing of who Dan TDM is. So I did a little bit of research on this guy. He is a Minecraft whiz. You know the game Minecraft that all the kids are playing? It's like an 8...
My son plays it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. It's 8-bit, no graphics, nothing really high tech, very, very simple. But there is something in the DNA of that game that hooks kids like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, it's going in and setting up your own resources and protecting them, and then going out and attacking other people.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a club at my son's school that he's part of, and he's just bananas for this. So I check up this guy, Dan TD, and we have tickets to see him tomorrow night at the Dolby Theater. And my son is over the moon. Like, he will not sleep tonight. There's no way he's going to get a minute of sleep to see this Dan TDM. So I checked this guy out. He has, I think, 12 or 15 million followers online. Like, it is ridiculous. And he does these videos where it's him playing Minecraft.
Right. And doesn't he play with his girlfriend? Or is that another person?
I think it's somebody else. I think Dan's married, and he has this cute little pug dog that everybody is just bananas over, this pug. And I think the pug has his own Twitter account or something. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. But wow, he is an extraordinary talent, this guy, Dan TDM. And so for those of you out there that are listening that have kids, you know what Rachel and I are talking about. You know that the YouTube and any of those videos where you can watch somebody play a game, I think seem to just be huge. Like they're massive, massive games.
Yeah.
They draw in so many fans. Dan has a book that he wrote. It's it's amazing. So we are off to the Dolby Theater to see Dan TDM tomorrow night. And you know what? I'm really excited. I'm excited for him that he's so excited to see this because passion in life, is important. It's too easy to not care. It's too easy to say, whatever. It's the passionate stuff that I absolutely love. So yeah, that's Dan TDM, the Minecraft dude. Now, speaking of passion, in walked, I don't really know how to explain to this guy. I don't know how to describe him. Rachel, how do I describe who's in the studio with me right here? What are clean adult words that I can use that
This is
this
Dutchie,
is Dutchie.
one of the owners and a DJ host at the station.
That's right. He listens to classical music and oh no, wait.
Classical music.
We can't fit.
It is classical music.
Sex Pistols is classical.
I think to some people it is. Dutchie's here. Hey, Dutchie, how are you?
I'm fantastic, my friend. Fantastic.
I'm just being silly. We're just being silly here.
I'm.
So welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Excellent.
Pleasure.
And we can talk about movies.
We can talk about movies for sure.
Well, yeah. And since it's May the 4th, I think we're going to start with this one. I think you're the only. I honestly think you're the only person I know that has never seen Star Wars.
And here's the kicker for that, right? And I was watching one of them last night, not Star Wars.
Okay.
I am one of the world's biggest Star Trek fans.
Right. Oh, yes.
I have every. Should I admit this on the air?
You can.
I have the original
Go for it.
series. I have every box of The Next Generation, every box of Deep Space Nine, and then halfway into what was it with Captain Janeway?
Oh, Voyager.
Right? Voyager.
Voyager.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I kind of got too busy for sitting and watching TV. And then I've got every single movie, right? And one of those geeks that's stupid enough to upgrade from DVD and buy the whole set again because it's on Blu-ray. and they digitally did the spaceships going through the sky.
Oh, and they look so good in the original Star Trek. They look really good.
Yeah.
They do.
It's amazing.
Because before it was just these blocks of what is that?
Well,
I don't
they've
even know
got
what it
it's the
is.
same pictures. How they've made them look that good, I don't know. So about 6 years ago,
Yeah.
I bought the box set of the 2 box sets of Star Wars.
Okay.
So I've got
All 6
the
of those
original
movies up
6
to-
ones.
to
I've got
that
them all
point.
on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Never put them in. Never watched them.
Well, I think we're all dying to know why.
I don't know. I think it's because they're next to Star Trek, and each time I go to get them, it's Star Wars. That's Star Trek.
You feel like you're cheating on Star
Yeah,
Trek.
it does. It feels like I'm gonna get divorced from it.
But,
That's so funny.
I grew up with both, but every time, if it was Star Wars or Star Trek, and some of my other friends, they love Star Trek,
Yeah.
but I was more like Star Wars. I don't know.
Do you know what?
I guess it was like, what's that called? The Battle of Endor?
Yes.
Yeah, with the Ewoks.
That's right. Yeah, that's in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, like I fell in love with the Ewoks, and Star Trek just couldn't compare to that.
But I remember
Interesting.
in 1969.
Yeah.
I actually remember watching the original series. I'm old enough to, as a kid, remember. So then it's one of those things that, so when you say you grew up with both, Rachel, you kind of did,
Yeah.
but not the original. So when The Next Generation started in around about, I'm going to say 82 or 83,
Correct.
we looked at it and went, I don't think so. But then it just got bigger and better and better and better.
Wait, with Star Trek?
The Next Generation,
Right.
or TNG if you're hip.
Well, see,
Yes, hip is the word, folks.
yeah. But even with Star Wars at that point, they were coming out with cartoons. And of
Yeah.
course that's going to like capture the imagination.
But it's who gets to you first.
I think
that
so,
you
yeah.
get
That's where
to-
your allegiance comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
It's so funny is because my brother-in-law, who is a great guy, super smart guy, 1977 for him does not mark the start of Star Wars. No, it was Annie Hall.
What?
Annie Hall was his movie. Annie Hall comes out in 1977. Star Wars comes out in 1977. I'm an 8-year-old kid going, Star Wars, this is the best. He's an 18-year-old kid that's like, I'm not watching a kid's movie. I'm going to go and see Woody Allen. So it's so funny how that it's the age group, it's timing. Everything about this, I think, is timing of what we talked about.
Yeah. And 77 was when Star Wars came out. What was the date?
Oh, well, it's May 25th, 1977. In 3 weeks is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars.
I'm gonna have to look what the top 20 in the charts look like at that time,
Yeah.
so we can retrospectively go back,
Yeah.
play some of the music.
Oh, my gosh.
and
yeah.
like totally let's recreate
1977.
May of 77.
Yeah. That's so great. I didn't see it in May of 1977. I honestly, I did
Maybe
not.
it is what I think we should do, because you know that next week we are planning on making that room next door,
That's right.
and there's a projector in there that's waiting to go up
Okay.
with a 10-foot screen on it.
This is our studio, the
Right.
world headquarters. of
And I'm
Chaotic
thinking
Radio.
that maybe we need to make it happen. And I watched my first ever Star Wars movie on the anniversary on a 10-foot screen in Kaotic Radio,
Oh.
and then we can invite everyone and anyone we want to.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we shoot it. We shoot you. I want to watch your reaction watching it.
I'm going to
Oh.
go. No, don't, because I might go, no, let's put a Star Trek movie on.
No, that's fine. I think if you do. I am not a Star Wars, dude or anything. It's
Only if you guys can build a transportation, or what's it called?
the transporter.
Yes, I need a transporter device.
Right. Well, that's the Hadron Collider. I think,
got a
isn't
bottle
it?
of wine in there that does the same thing.
I think it does exactly the same thing. Oh, yeah. Because to me, I think as an 8-year-old kid, and a woman that my dad worked with had said, "Oh, this summer you got to take the boys to go and see Star Wars. You got to go and see it." And we'd heard little bits of it at school, but not a lot. No internet, not really a lot of publicity. But then we saw it, and for me, it was a seminal moment in my
The
life.
first Star Wars was number 3.
Episode 4. Yeah, Star Wars: A New Hope, Episode 4.
So it went. That was the very first Star Wars.
It's all
It went
that.
4, 5, 6, and then
1, 2, 3, 7, 8, and then.
So
Rogue
people
One
tell
is in
me that you're lucky. They say you're lucky because you've never seen any of it, and if you watch it, you should watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And other people go, "Oh, you cannot.
No.
You have to watch it the same way that it was released."
You have to watch it the same way it was released. That's when I showed it to my son. We started with Star Wars, Empire, Jedi. And then begrudgingly, I showed him 1, 2, 3, which I just don't like. And I think for the longest time, he loved this crazy character called Jar Jar Binks, and I was just so angry that I showed him those movies.
So you didn't like 1, 2, and 3.
No, I didn't. I didn't like it at all. I thought that the story was weak, and it felt very anomalous, and it's so digital, right? It's like these movies come out in when digital CGI is at its infancy.
I can understand why.
'Cause
That all of those
yeah.
movies did the same thing.
Right. It
Yeah.
wasn't like you were watching Indiana Jones and they were building these mini sets. It's totally different.
Yeah, it was soulless. It was a digital thing that you looked at and thought, well, it doesn't look real, and
I've got to see it.
it just doesn't. No, don't.
No, I mean I've got to see the whole series.
Well, you see Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi first, and then you do what you want.
So when Disney, it was Disney who bought it, right?
Yeah, Disney bought Lucasfilms 4 years ago.
And then they came out with 7 and 8.
That's right, and Rogue One.
Rogue One, oh, that's the one that just came out last year.
And Rogue One tucks in nicely right after Star Wars: A New Hope. No, right before Star Wars: A New Hope. So right between in the sequence, Episode 3 and Episode 4.
Did 7 and 8 and then Rogue One come back strong?
8 comes out this Christmas. 7 did. Yeah,
Yeah?
absolutely. But in a lot of ways, it's a reboot of Star Wars. It felt familiar, but it had to. It had to kind of, cleanse the palate because it had just been, guys like me that were so excited about a new Star Wars movie, and they were dreadful. Just so disappointing. 2005 was the last, was Episode 3. 03 and 01. And just
I
dreadful.
laugh because I
Yeah.
truly used to laugh at the lunatic Star Wars fans. They're like,
Oh, yeah.
Apple phones come out and there's people lining up. But
Yeah.
a new Star Wars, a new Harry Potter book, it's like, where did you people come from?
Yeah.
They're crazy.
It's the passion. And that's the thing that I love. I love that people, have passion and show it. It's too easy nowadays to be too negative, isn't it? And to
Yeah.
not care and to not be interested. It's a good time.
What's your take on sequels and prequels and all of that? And how many can you possibly milk?
Wow, that's such a great question. My favorite movie is a sequel, Godfather Part 2. To me, if there's perfection in cinema, perfection at all, Godfather Part 2 is the closest that it comes. And The Godfather is a fantastic film. Absolutely love it.
So that was in your mind, that was a better movie than the first one.
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
How many others can you say?
Wow.
There's been so many, but
yeah, it's tricky because you go down that path. It's the what do they call it in the music industry? The sophomore album, right? It's that second
Right.
album. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it going to be as good as the first one? You guys really made a hit with the first one.
if the first one's a huge hit, second one's never as good, is it?
Well, and
Or
taking this,
even getting into your junior and senior years, then
Yeah.
you're just regurgitating,
yeah,
So there's always that aspect.
it makes you wonder what, and this sort of branches into your world, what the Sex Pistols' second album would have been like.
Yeah.
Like what were the influences back then? What did Sid want to do with the band? What did Steve Jones want to take? Where do they want to go with it?
Yeah, it would have been interesting.
Yeah,
Would have been interesting.
absolutely.
It's interesting to me now. The one that just came out, the whatever and the Furious, the number 15.
Oh, the Fast and the Furious,
right,
number 8.
whatever it is. But
Yeah,
it broke box office attendance records around the world.
yeah, almost $1 billion
like
now. Yeah,
hugely big. And you go, how? I mean, I'm not into that kind of movie anyway,
no,
right? And I understand that there's a passion from the fan,
Yeah.
which you gotta love. You just gotta love
Yeah.
it. But how and why do people go and watch number 8?
I think it's familiar. I think there's a familiarity that they have with the characters that they go, we now know the rules of this franchise. We know how it's going to work, right?
A blind loyalty as well.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think that there's people out there that would support Star Wars regardless. And there are people that love those first episode 1, 2, 3. I think they're the greatest. They just have that kind of connection to it.
Do you know a generation of Star Wars people who like 4, 5, 6 better or not?
Yeah, I think most people would say that.
I'm sorry, no. 1, 2, 3 was the bad ones, right?
Yeah.
So, is there a generation because they're younger, because they weren't there for the first ones, that they saw the originals for the premiere for the first time, and they're like, "That's my movie." Those 3 are better than the first 3 that were made.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they would say that they feel more modern, more contemporary, more a reflection of us.
Do you look back at? That made me? It's funny though because you talk about it was the computer generated this, that, and the other. But I remember when computer generation come out, and we went, "Oh my god, that looks so awesome!" And then you go, "I'm gonna go and watch this movie. This was the best movie I ever saw,
Yeah.
like Jaws, right?"
Yeah.
And you go, and then you see this plastic shark come up, and you go, "Oh my god, really?"
Yeah.
I mean, what would a Jaws remake be like?
Wow. I think it would
They've
be...
never remade it, have they?
They did some sequels.
No,
yeah.
they did sequels. I had all the sequels. I got all of them.
Never remade it.
But they never remade it. So what would a remake of Jaws be like today?
Oh, I don't know. It depends who you get as the director. You get the right director and the right team on it, it'll be...
It'd be a blockbuster.
It would be as...
Make some
big-
phone calls now.
Hey, I will. I'll get on the line. Do you know that was the summer? That was the movie, 1975, when it comes out. That's the movie that started the summer blockbuster. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That
No.
was the movie. The movie with every problem that you can have. That was the movie that started it off. That every studio went.
So
okay,
was the
next summer we've got to get a movie.
Was the
in there."
following year Saturday Night Fever?
Yeah, I think so. Somewhere around 75, 76. I think it's there.
There's some great movies in
Oh my
there.
God. And then Star Wars is the blockbuster for 77. And so it goes.
So now I know why I didn't get into Star Wars, because punk took me over.
It
The
was-
music took me away
they were
from
fusing
movies.
at that point. Cinema was changing. a lot of young directors were coming. I think Spielberg's 27 when he directs Jaws. He's just a kid.
No.
Yeah,
Really?
he's just a kid. And I think that the punk world is that's another voice for the young. So it's so interesting. I love that, and I love that the way that you can start to see the world and cinema and music all sort of connected, and the influences they have. It's great.
And I was blind to I was very close-minded in music and movies. And was just the movie Saw,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And as I saw that, I never saw any of them until about 5 years ago. But I didn't understand why there was Saw 3, then 4, then 5, and it was like,
yeah.
really? And then I dated a girl. She said, no, you got to watch them. Do you like horror? I'm like, I love it, but that is, how do you know? You haven't seen it. I'm like, okay, let's watch it. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I was like hooked.
Yeah.
All 7 in like 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Ah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Saw. Yeah, it's interesting, but to just get back to your question to the sequel, I don't think so. I don't think there are a lot of movies that have the success of a sequel. I think there are too many examples that we can cite where the sequel really fails the original. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I think it's the middle chapter, and it falls away.
But came back strong with a third one.
It did, and then went away really weak with the fourth one, I thought. So yeah, there's the sequel. But then, having said that, the Bond, world of Bond, they're all sequels.
Different. It's not a sequel. It's a series.
It is.
Big difference.
So is the Fast and the Furious a series now, not a sequel?
It depends if they move. To me, it depends if they take a previous story and run and blend it into the next movie. Every Bond film is a totally new movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't touch on the past at all. I'm waiting for Avatar.
Yes.
I'm wondering, because the second Avatar hasn't been out, or did I miss it?
No, it's not out yet. It's been pushed back, and I think 2018, I think, so next year.
And I know the third one is coming out. That they filmed 2 and 3 together.
Right behind it. Yeah.
You know, so that would be interesting because, again, James Cameron was the producer, right?
He was, yeah, and the director, and I think he was even one of the writers on it.
Yeah, so that was, I think, you know way more about movies than me, but that seemed to be the first movie in a few years that just took the whole world.
It was beautiful.
You know,
Yeah.
it took everyone saw Avatar kind
Yeah,
of thing.
oh, yeah, no, everyone did. And I think the reason why, it was the first 3D movie that was made for 3D.
Right.
And I think that that's the difference. A lot of 3D movies nowadays, it's just a tack on. Oh, okay, we'll make it 3D. We'll just render it out in 3D. And they can do that now. They know how to do that.
Yeah, if you want to base it off of music, it's kind of like waiting for the next Tool or CD to come out.
Yeah,
Because James Cameron puts so much work
yeah.
into his art, you know, and it's amazing whenever it comes out.
That's a really interesting question. He's holding those back because technology isn't ready or can't compete with his imagination, with the ideas that he has.
The way they made it and the way they filmed it, and I'm kind of going back to how you went about the Star Wars movies with the computer generating. Do you think they've got used to computer generated movies now where they're now real as opposed to, oh my God, look, we've got computer generated stuff. We can do whatever we want to do with it. We don't want to be shocked by it. We want it to interact and look totally real.
Yeah.
Because I remember when he got off the bed the first time, right, and they plugged him in,
Yeah.
right, and he's 10 foot tall instead. It was so realistic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
their movements, everything. There wasn't bright lights and explosions, and we can generate whatever we want.
Yeah. I think that it is a curve. And I think that there are companies that go, you know what, we're really going to put a lot of money into the CGI, the best CGI that we can get. I think some of it as well is, well, we can do a partial CGI set here it'll look okay, but people will still know that it's not really good CGI. And I think that Avatar is one of those few films that just changed the game. It absolutely changed the game. Story we'd seen before. We'd seen that many times before, but that didn't really matter. This was a world. And when you saw it on 3D IMAX, you felt like there was an immersion into this movie that you had never experienced before in any other movie.
And the story was very basic. It was very, to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying anything I don't think anyone knows. It was, we're kicking out the Indians. We're taking over your land. We're taking over America.
Yeah, it's Pocahontas.
Whether it's America, whether it was in a softer way, Hitler trying to take over Germany and take over the world.
Yeah.
In a different way, but it was one race trying to take over another.
Yeah.
For greed.
Yeah,
you know?
for what was it called? Unobtainium.
And that was I nearly said it. There was some acting in that movie that was so bad, and it was the guy who said that.
Yeah,
right, about the unobtainium when it was floating on the.
That was Giovanni Ribisi, who's quite an actor.
He was terrible in that movie.
It was dreadful.
Dreadful.
Yeah.
And he's gonna make. He's got to be in the second.
I
one.
bet you. He made sure that he signed that contract that said, "Yeah, I'm."
Just in case. You don't know when you make a movie, do you?
You don't.
It could be the world's most expensive movie that never got anywhere, or one of the cheapest ones that made millions.
And it could be like the Blair Witch Project
Yeah.
that was shot for $15,000 on Digital 8 and then goes on to make 175 million worldwide.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know what's going to capture the audience. And that's thrilling. I love that as a filmmaker because you just don't know. I mean, it's horrifically horrifying. But
it's not if you're the guy with the Super 8 and you really don't care.
Yeah.
It is if you're the guy with 200 billion into a movie, you know?
You get an IMAX camera with film that's so expensive. What's your favorite film? What do you
Heat.
Heat. That's so awesome.
It's one of my favorite films. And it's only because you've got De Niro. Actually, Val Kilmer's in it as well.
He's good, yeah.
John Voight's in it. But you got Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in a... It's not a brain-busting movie, you know? But they're acting... Their skills, no matter what movie you see them in. Yeah. That it may be a bad movie, but you never see them acting bad.
No.
You know?
No.
And that movie to me was one of the... I only watched it because my uncle told me there's a scene in that movie you got to watch. Take that 2 minutes when they're sitting in a cafe explaining each other's reasons for being there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm good at what I do, and so am I, and I'm going to catch it. Well, if you do, you do, you know. And it's but stop it and rewind it and watch them acting in the presence of each other and it being so real. And then they walk out the cafe and go, okay, all right, well, I'll see you later. Chase me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely brilliant. And you're right. The simpleness of it. There's no complexity to this. It's a fairly straightforward, simple kind of story, but it has those great actors that are just so amazing. No, it's all good.
The recent movie that I fell in love with was Into the Wild.
Okay. With Reese
Witherspoon and but I forget the guy's name. It's bad on me. The main actor, because he was out in the wild by him. No, you're thinking Wild, where she
goes to the wild. Yeah,
right. No, this was Into the Wild with Emile Hirsch.
Wow, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
You got to see it this week then.
I will.
And there's a combination of music, cinematography, scenery, reality, where you become this kid.
Wow.
I'll say no more of that. The whole soundtrack was an acoustic Eddie Vedder. And I could watch that movie every week and never... No.
Wow.
Yeah. Into the Wild.
Into the Wild. Yeah, we'll put that on the list.
And I recently, mentioning it, I recently bought Wild, the Reese Witherspoon movie.
Yeah, my
and
wife
watched that
read-
recently,
my
and it
wife
was
read
like,
the
wow.
book. It's ridiculous, that story. Like
It's
you just wouldn't believe that it's a true story.
Same with this kid, and I'll say no more. Saying you couldn't believe that young kids
Wow.
go, I'm doing this. I'm going to challenge myself or my brain, or I'm just going to live life. Live life.
That's what it's about. Those are the best movies that share the live life kind of thing. I love that. I love that. Well, so what's our time like?
I have no idea what the time is.
We're I think we're right on the nose. So we're good. I think we're really good.
All right.
We should do this more often.
I will.
Because I think that there's a great connect between music and the movies. I think they go together. As soon as they became talkies, that was the obvious choice that people said, yeah, we're going to put music in this.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think so.
I love it. Cool. Well, that is that, as they say here at the Director's Cut. My name is Rich Kenyon, and I have been with Dutchie tonight, and we've been talking about all sorts of movies, and we slid to Avatar quite nicely, and I love it. I love it. We talked a little bit about Silence of the Lambs. Next show, and while you're here, I might as well tell you about next week's show. Next week is our journey into nudity on film. The best nude scenes, the most gratuitous nude scenes, the scenes that were really important to telling that story. And I have a friend of mine who's a photographer from Calgary. Her name is Sherry Nicole, and she's going to be on. And she's a great photographer, and she shoots a lot of nudes.
Well, it sounds like I've got a lot of research to do this week.
Yes, I'll
watch a lot of movies.
Absolutely. Get prepared for work. So yeah, we're going to be very voyeuristic next week here on the Director's Cut, listening to or watching our favorite nude scenes, and then we'll cover all of them. We will, and maybe we'll uncover some that you've never seen before, and all with a modicum of taste and respect, and we'll try professionalism, but that can only
I'll try.
Only go
I'll
so
say
far,
this:
I think.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
True Lies. That's a great scene. That really is a great scene. Thank you, sir. It has been a pleasure. And you have been listening to the Director's Cut here on Kaotic Radio. I'm Rich Kenyon, and that is the lovely Rachel in the booth. And,
Thank you, Rich.
A great show. Another great show, and super excited. And
It was a lot of fun.
yeah, and thank you for joining me. I love it. I love working with you, and we've got a great connection here. And Mom says it's good, so we're good. And as we say around here, the Director's Cut, go see a movie.
All clear.